You have to know what is coming. Not too many people know what's coming. That's usually reserved for prophets and clairvoyants. But between you and me, you gotta know what's coming. You gotta sit down at your desk and figure it out. You basically have to become so adept at reading the wavelengths of time that you can preconceive a reality that you enact through your phantasmagorical imagination in advance and watch it unfold like a movie. I was once told that I am obese. I was once called a psychopath, also a sociopath, a narcissist, evil, all of those good things, but didn't affect me. And some people think that I'm even stranger for that, but they don't understand why. It didn't affect me. They think I'm cold and heartless, made of steel. I'm not. I feel everything. I'm very affective. Very emotional. But I saw it all in advance. I sat down at my desk and I drafted a plan. I said to myself, how can I show up most fully in this world without ruffling feathers, without plucking someone's beard superfluously? I thought it out. I dreamt forward in time. Now, I'm not saying that I believe in time travel, but I knew that if I were to make a significant dent in reality for humanity, for all the interstellar greatness and glory that awaited me, I'd have to brace myself and batten down the hatches and become impervious to sticks and stones. I sat down at my desk and I planned it out, because I knew. Didn't I ever know? Didn't I ever know that they would come gunning for me? It starts innocently. Just a little remark here and there. A quasi-criticism. A minute condemnation. It's something so small, trivial, paltry, insignificant, but really it's designed to wreak havoc across your interiority, to wreak havoc in your soul and drag you down just when you were lifting yourself up. So I sat at my desk and I planned it out. I said to myself, I'm gonna make some waves. But then they're gonna come. They'll call me a psychopath. They'll call me evil, narcissistic. Everything that I decry will be used against me as a label. So I dreamt up this reality with my fantastic mind. But it's difficult, you know? All of us visionaries. Yeah. Everybody, listen to me. They say that vulnerability is all the rage. But I'll tell you something. Vulnerability never did nothing for me. Okay? Because you don't really like a vulnerable man. You just think you do. You like a vulnerable man. You want a vulnerable man. You put an ad in the classifieds for the vulnerable man. You go to Craigslist and say, wanted, vulnerable man, $500 an hour. I show up at your door, I'm wearing my best suit, comb my hair, wash my beard, freshen the pits. But then you get one good look at me and you're like, I don't want a vulnerable man. I want a strong man. Why do you grow a beard if you're vulnerable? Beards and vulnerability, that's not. So you see, my plight. I literally went door to door to door in various neighborhoods in this city. And I actually printed a t-shirt. Vulnerable man for hire. So I could just knock on the door or, what's that called? Ring the doorbell. And show up, and right when they open the door, they say, vulnerable man for hire. So I don't say anything because that would be too imposing, that would be too domineering. But that's how I decided I would make waves in this culture. And when I was at my desk and I was planning out the future, envisioning the future forward in time, I was like, if I show up on every doorstep, vulnerable man for hire, I can change society. But I knew the people would call me a psychopath. Me, a psychopath. I'm the nicest, sweetest guy you're ever gonna meet. I'm kind, I'm cordial, I communicate. I put your needs first. I put my needs on the back burner. I don't even think about my needs when I'm talking to you. It's about yours. Vulnerable man for hire. The best thing to do when you're being vulnerable is to be vulnerable. So after I knock on the door, ring the doorbell, or do that thing, I just stand there, let them read the shirt. No armament, no walls, nothing, no filters, just me. And then it's on them. If they don't want a vulnerable man in their lives for $500 an hour, that's on them. They don't know what I'm going to be giving to them, but they need to sense in that moment my gift. And so that was part of the old, envisioning process too. If you want to get to California, you got to map it out. You got to know where you're going and then draw out all the steps. Make sure everything's packed. You got gas, you got your map, you have AAA, all of it. You got a great music selection for the road. You got to know where you want to go. So these people, they don't know. They don't know what true vulnerability is. But I'm showing it to them. I'm like, me even being here on your front step is my gift to you. I'm not even doing anything. I'm just here. I'm the target for your judgment. Can you refrain from judging me? Probably can't. Probably don't know how everybody wants to judge everybody these days, but I am Mr. Anti-Judgment. I don't judge. I don't judge because you know what? When I judge, I'm not vulnerable. So what I do is I sit there like a protoplasmic, ectoplasmic jelly on the front doorstep. Some people are really intrigued by me at first, I've got to say. And, I can get any manner of responses. Some people are like, oh, look, a white man is on my door. And they slam it. Well, those are the people who need my vulnerability the most. They're practically racist against white men. Others are like, oh my God, a big guy with a beard is on my front doorstep. Slam. What's your prejudice against beards, huh? So you can see they need vulnerability. Anytime you get this prejudice toward a race, like prejudice toward white people, or prejudice toward a beard, which is really prejudice toward masculinity, you need vulnerability. You gotta be intimate. You gotta take that prejudice into your bosom. Love it for what it is. You got to be vulnerable with your prejudice and get rid of that. That's what Mr. Vulnerable can do for you for $500 an hour. Now you may think, I can't afford to hire a man to be vulnerable for $500 an hour. But that's because you don't even know what I'm going to be offering you when I'm there. Like, I'll give you a perfect example. Right now, as I'm filming this promotional video, Vulnerable Man for Hire, I've got some dude outside of the recording studio. He's mowing the lawn. He's got like a weed whacker. Now, how am I going to be handling that? Because it's interfering now. And I don't want it on the video. But listen, that's it. Do you see? I can be vulnerable right now. See how loud it is? I can't stand it. I want to go outside and curse at this man who's making so much noise. He doesn't know that I'm trying to put food on my table and pay the rent with my Vulnerable Man for Hire campaign. So you see my predicament. Well, there's a lot of them, but the one that interests me the most and obsesses me the most, to be honest with you, is the more that I push the envelope with vulnerability, the more I ride that unfolding wave of evolution and really try to get people to stay in the present moment of their heart-centric awareness and feel everything and do nothing but feel, I get the slings and arrows of outrage, misfortune, of outrage. Anytime you say anything that makes you exit the pack, oh, they come for you. I wouldn't even be surprised if these landscapers were sent by the very same people who've got it out for hire a vulnerable man. That's right. They saw my ads, maybe on Facebook. Maybe I showed up in their spam box for Gmail, and they felt resentment. They felt envy because I'm on the cutting edge and they're not. And all I'm doing is showing up on doorsteps and saying nothing. And that's the beginning. Now, I did have one woman who looked at me really surprised and just stopped, and she stared at me as I stared at her, and she saw my shirt and she's like, Vulnerable Man for Hire. Wow. My husband is not vulnerable. He needs to be vulnerable. And she started weeping. She's like, you're the perfect person for me right now. You're just what I needed. The universe sent you to me. And so I just took a moment and I said, I'm not going to talk to you until you pay me. It takes $500 for me to open my mouth beyond this moment. And she got out her credit card and showed it to me. And that's good enough. Got out my phone and swiped it. And $500 in my account, and then I could start talking to her about her husband. Turns out her husband is old school. Doesn't wear his heart on his sleeve. He's got a very demanding job, right? He's a CEO of some kind of important company. He works his ass off in the company. what she tells me is that he doesn't even believe in it. He's actually trying to subvert the company. Right? He's got some kind of internal discord with the, board of trustees. So what he's doing, he's trying to renovate this corrupt corporation from within, and he's part of a secret alliance of all these other CEOs from all these other corporations who know what's up. They know the time of day. And they are trying to change reality. And so, we're knee deep in this conversation. I'm staying there on her front porch because I think staying on the front porch is good for marketing, because all these other people can come out from their front doors, stand on their porch, and look at what's going on between me and this woman, because, I'm the vulnerable man for hire, and we're having a real conversation. It's real. Now, you may object to the fact that it costs $500, but I call that perceived value. If a man shows up, a good-looking man like me with a beard, and I'm on your doorstep, and you see this vulnerable man for hire, and I say $500 for an hour, you're like, either you think I'm a complete lunatic, or you know that I'm a ninja on my shit. For reals. That's it. So, as me and this woman are talking, I'm just seeing out of the side of my eye, we have a whole line of people on the right, a whole line of people on the left on their front doorsteps, looking. And they're eating this shit up. Now, they can't tell what I'm saying, but they can just feel my energy. They can see our interaction. And I can tell they're hungry. And I can tell that I'm going to be making a lot of money. Now, to return to this conversation, and by the way, it's just like when you have one mirror here, and you have another mirror here, and they're facing each other, and they reflect each other for eternity, and the image in both mirrors starts to warp as it goes into infinity. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about with these people on the front doorsteps. Some badass shit right there. Vulnerable man for hire. We're talking. And as I get a sense of what she's dealing with, I'm like, yo, your man's the bomb. Now here you are thinking he's all closed off, but he's actually coming home from work exhausted, and he's been at work kicking it with his homies. And he could get fired any moment by the chairman of the board, the stockholders, anybody, for what he's doing. He's trying, using his leadership capacity, to sublimate the entire corporation into a direction of greater truth, transparency, integrity. And here you are thinking that he's not delivering. But who's he not delivering for, lady? And I'm vulnerable, but I know how to kind of stick it to him. Who's he not delivering for? See, the point of my conversation with this woman is I was trying to show her that she's not being vulnerable to him. He's bought her this great house. She's raising their kids, making their food, doing the housewife thing, but not grateful. Because maybe she's internalized the sexism that says being a housewife and mother is inferior to a CEO out there rocking and just cock out. And that's a shame. So that's what we talked about. That's how we dialogued. I was like, I think you may be feeling like what you're doing is inferior to what he's doing, and it's not. And I think if you could be really grateful for what you're doing and love what you're doing and see the beauty in the eternity in what you're doing, then you'd be grateful. You'd be grateful for what you're doing in the present moment. You'd be grateful that your husband is out there doing this great work so you can be doing your great work. And I think if you get more grateful toward him, I bet he's going to have that heart. Boom, 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 boom. That heart's going to start pumping on his sleeve. He's going to start warming up to you. And he's going to be grateful for you because you're grateful for him. Because you are so grateful for what you're doing. This tremendous house, these wonderful kids, making this food. You're actually raising beautiful, good, true human beings. And there's nothing inferior about that.